Good morning, guys. I'm teacher. We are turn number 2, confirmed by Hector, Jesus, Valeria, and me. We are going to show you a little presentation the 1960 Olympics in Rome. The first one is the economy. The Roma, also known as Romani people or Gypsies, are a diverse group of traditionally itinerant people with origin in the Indian subcontinent. It is difficult to provide a comprehensive picture of the Roma economy in 1960 because their economic situation varied widely depending on their location and circumstance. In general, Roma communities at the time faced significant economic changes due to the discrimination, growth, and social exclusion. Many Roma live in poverty and relate in informal economies such as craft collection, fortune telling, and music performance for their lives it loves. They face barriers to accessing education, housing, and formal employment due to the discrimination and lack of opportunity. In safe countries such as Romania and Bulgaria, were subjective to forced settlement and assimilation policies, which further limited their economic opportunities and cultural practice. However, there were also Roma communities in Western Europe and North America who had great access to education and formal employment and were able to establish successful business careers. The Roma economy was characterized by significant change and inequalities, but also by resistance and adaptability in the face of adversity. The second is the culture. Okay, if you are referring to the culture of Roma, Italy in 16, it was a time to significant change and modernization as the country underwent an economic boom and rapid social transformation following World War II. Roma was a center of Italian cinema, which was experiencing a period of artist and commercial success known as the Golden Age of Italian cinema. Filmmakers such as Federico Fellini, Michelangelo Antonioni, and Vittorio De Sica produced internationally acclaimed films that reclaimed the changing values and social relative of post-war Italy. The city was also a hub of art and fashion, with designers such as Valentino, Fendi, and Bulgari, establishing themselves as living figures in the industry. The fashion scene was heavily influenced by the Dolce Vita lifestyles, Robert Weiss, and Fellini's films, which celebrate luxury, glamour, and excess. In terms of popular culture, Roma was a hub of music, nightlife, and street life. The city's many bars, cafes, and nightclubs were popular gathering places for young people who embrace new styles of music such as rock and roll and jazz. At the same time, traditional culture practice such as Catholicism, the regional folk traditions remain strong in Roma and Italy. The Vatican City, located within.
In this slide, I explain the countries that participate in the Olympic Games and this year. In total, there were 18 countries. Below, I give you a list in resume as the countries that compete in the Olympic Games were Afghanistan, Germany, Netherlands, Argentina, Australia, Austria, Bahamas, Belgium, Bermuda, Brazil, Bulgaria, Canada, Czechoslovakia, Chile, Colombia, South Korea, Cuba, Denmark, Spain, United States, Ethiopia, West Indies Federation, France, Ghana, Greece, British, Hong Kong, Hungary, and these are only half of the country because if I say them all, I take more time in this slide, and this is only a few countries that participate in these Olympic Games. And it is that 18 countries is a little compared to the numbers of countries that today are preparing for the next Olympic Games, which become more or less 120 countries, and many of the aforementioned countries not longer such as such. So these countries is countries that exist in the past. Regarding the sports in the next presentation, I will explain the sports that play in the Olympic Games, and these sports is a lot of categories, but in the modern Olympic Games, in these Olympic Games, there are not have these sports. Many sports are eliminated to the list I say in this moment, and we have athletics, basketball, boxing, cycling, horse riding, fencing, soccer, gymnastics, fire hockey, weightlifting, fight, swimming, swimming jumps, motor plantathon, canoeing, rowing, shot, candle, water polo, and a sport like shot, candle, horse riding, soccer, basketball don't more play in the don't qualify in the Olympic Games now, in these Olympic Games, because these sports have her own Olympic Games, but in this sport, and our we have gymnastics. This sport is always in the Olympic Games. Athletics, same. It's always in the Olympic Games, but a lot of sports are eliminated to the list. So this is all the sports we have in these Olympic Games. And who could participate? Each country manages its own classification and its own national team in sports. So the same countries choose their best athletes to be able to represent them in the Olympic Games. They have a certain agility standards strength and mastery of his sport. So no anyone could be participate, but if you have a standards he required, you could participate and represent the your country in the Olympic Games.
Well, good morning everyone. Now it's my turn to talk about how did the people travel to the 1960 Rome Olympics. And if we talk about how people traveled to the 1960 Rome Olympics, we could say that some travel by plane, others by boat, those who were close to the city or the country were in their cars, buses, etc. Now, if we talk about what could you do in the city as a visitor, we could say that the 1960 Rome Olympics Games represent a historic milestone in the world of sport, but also offer a unique opportunity for visitors to immerse themselves in Italy's rich culture and history. During those days of competition, thousands of athletes and spectators from all over the world converged on the majestic city of Rome, creating an atmosphere of emotion and camaraderie. However, these Olympic Games were not limited to sporting competition, but gave visitors explore the wonders of country-rich in cultural heritage. The Roman Forum, with its cobbled streets and imposing ruins, became a living testimony of the greatness of ancient Rome. Visitors were able to walk through this historical place and contemplate the vestige of a bygone civilization, transporting themselves in time and connecting with the greatness of the past. An iconic symbol of Rome, the Colosseum, loomed large, offering visitors commanding glimpse of the grandeur of the Roman Empire. Spectators have the opportunity to walk its halls, imagining the shows that once took place in that ancient amphitheater. It was an experience that allowed them to understand the historical legacy of Rome and its lasting influence on modern society. But the 1960 Rome Olympics were not limited to the Italian capital. Visitors also have the opportunity to explore other regions of the country, such as charming Florence, with its rich Renaissance. As charming Florence, with its rich Renaissance heritage, Florence has become a must-see for art lovers. Travelers were able to contemplate the magnificence of the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore and marvel and the perfection of the Michelangelo David sculpture in the Accademia Gallery. Every corner of this city rated history and culture, inviting the visitors to immerse themselves in a glorious past. The romantic city of Venice also captivated visitors during the 1960 Olympic Games. And with its winding canals and elegant palace, Venice offered a unique atmosphere. Travelers enjoyed gondola rides along the canals, explored the narrow cobbled streets, and marveled at the Gothic architecture of Mark's Basilica. It was a magical setting that transported visitors to a bygone era and visitors to a bygone era and allowed them to lose themselves. And that's all for me. It's the turn of my teammate Jesus that is going to talk about duration of the Olympics, and also you're going to talk about the conclusion.
And now it's my turn to explain the Olympic Games in Rome. The Olympic Games in Rome was in 1960, and this was a special game because it was the first Olympic Games that were broadcast on television. This Olympics began on August 25 and ended on September 11 in 1960, and the duration was 17 days. And in this game, 83 different countries, 5,338 athletes participated. And the stadium in Rome was built in 1937, and it's currently used for different events. And in these Olympics, many records were broken, and I think why. And it's because the athletes had more preparation, and because 21 years before the Second World War started. And this event is horrible because many people died, and the athletes don't have time to train. The most interesting thing at that time is survival. Hitler was a worse person. And why? Because he changed the economy of one country in just a few years, and this is good. But Hitler killed a lot of persons. Hitler only wants the best for his country, and he changed the world. But I think it was bad. And in these 17 days were 150 different events and 17 different sports. For example, boxing, basketball, volleyball, swimming, and I don't remember the other ones, and others. And the most interesting part for me and in these Olympic Games are boxing and volleyball, but I don't practice them. The most interesting part for the boxing for me is when a KO happens, and the most interesting part in the volleyball is when one team rescues the ball and wins the point. And I don't know, when a person says boxer, I always remember one person, Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson, he was an excellent boxer. He trained for many years, and he was very, very strong. But he had a big problem, the addictions. For example, he was addicted to alcohol and women. These addictions end his career, and a lot of persons end his career to this problem. Another example of person that end his career thanks to the addictions are Diego Maradona and Julio Cesar Chavez. Two excellent athletes. The first is football player, and the second one is a boxer. The first is for I don't remember, but the second is from Mexico. Another person that I admire is Canelo Alvarez, because he was an excellent boxer, and he's from Mexico. And in conclusion, the Olympic Games in Rome were a historical event because new sports appeared in these games. Many athletes won in different sports. For me, these games represent culture, dedication, and talent, because in the world there are many different cultures and countries. For example, Mexico, Russia, United States, I don't know, a lot of countries. And in these specific games, the biggest competition was between United States and Russia, the Cold War. And I think that Mexico is an excellent country. Here we can find many different things. And for me, the best thing about Mexico is the food. But I think Mexico has good athletes. But I think these athletes can be better. And for example, if they train more, they can win more medals. I don't know, a lot of change. If they eat better, drink water, I don't know. Because in this week I read a new book, and in this book I found a lot of information about habits. And in one part, it's a book, sorry. In one part, the writer says, and that a small change, and if we can change small things, we can change big problem. For example, a small change are use different clothes or train more. I don't know, a lot of things. And the main change begins in our mind. It's all for this evidence, and thanks, teacher, and goodbye.